Game 7 right now. Let's get it. And we saw yesterday, we got a little bit of a two-horse race right at the top. Peterbot and Byla phase Walltaker and 33 Cold. And yes, I know we're going to call him Walltaker. Yes, we know it's scented, but the name you put up there is the name we're going to call out. Please keep your branding consistent. And one thing I want to note, I went back yesterday and I checked because I know I talked about it and I was like, man, I feel like I've seen these numbers before. When we're looking at Peterbot and Byla, the numbers they put up yesterday were almost exactly the same as what they did in Qualifier 1. Is the difference of like 5 eliminations and 1 on the average placement.
Definitely one of the teams that flew under our radar, right? They played so consistent. They played well in the first qualifier. And you know, we tend to overlook things. Sometimes the name means everything. This time around, they are proving that we need to keep an eye on them. We need to give them attention. They have definitely earned it here today on the main stage. Of course, Peterbot and Byla have taken full advantage of the Fortnite world. Let's just talk about players that are so flexible like this. I think it honestly just gives them even more of a reason to check them out. The fact that they can be so nimble, so flexible, and play the newest drop and find success.
And particularly now, they're able to really just be a little bit defensive on their lead. They know they don't have to be pushing for all of those eliminations that got them there because, hey, they got them yesterday. They're able to now just kind of look at the rest of the lobby. So we're going to take a look. Trashy and Glaze, they're trying to find a little bit of room over here. One of our little contested side drops focusing over on the gas station. Right now, HP lead very, very much so in the hands of Golden and his teammate.
Yeah, not looking too hot for Glaze right now, who's got about half that health pool to work with, but Trashy's just trying to find any kind of material count that he can here. He's got 100 brick. That's going to give him about 11 builds or so to work with. Not too bad considering he has this natural high ground, but that HP disadvantage, that lack of a long range and a closer follow-up range weapon is going to be pretty tough to engage and find a lead here. So this is going to come down to whether or not they can actually bait them into bringing the battle to Trashy. Otherwise, they should get out of here. Remember, each of these engagements are still going to be worth so much.
Right now you can see Trashy trying to get the cone, will get the replace over the top, and then immediately, nice little edit back, but Fabled Taco trying to back him down, and now the HP lead is a little bit even. If you're Trashy, you want to close this fight immediately.
And that's how you play right there. You pre-fire the shot. This is one thing that pros are exceptional at, setting up those pre-fires. You cannot overestimate a player like Trashy. He will definitely punish you for any mistake. Fabled Taco and Golden, a part of that new era that we were talking about. Here it is. Time to step up to the plate.
But just 2 builds on Fabled Taco, which means if you end up in a situation where that drum's able to get on top of you, you don't necessarily have a wall to be able to slam up, which is one of the best things to kind of back down those high rate of fire weapons. And it feels like Trashy kind of knows that he should hear them hitting those materials on the inside. He's trying to push it down, and immediately Fabled Taco trying to find an answer, and he does. Glaze taking a bunch of damage. He's going to go down. It's all going to be on Trashy.
Not looking good for Trashy now. He didn't even get a chance to reload his weapon, so this is it. It's pretty much all or nothing, and he looks like he wants to commit here and now. Keep in mind, he does have to hit every single shot, possibly with max damage as well if he wants to take out 2 players here, especially with the limited ammunition that he has. Giving Golden and Fabled Taco a chance to rebound back, go ahead and get their HP up is going to be devastating for him now. Here it is. He gets the 1v1 he's looking for, but it's still in the advantage so far of Fabled Taco.
He only has 3 bullets left. Like we've seen him, he hasn't picked up any additional ammunition. You see him desperately trying to put it down, and he's going to go down. First full duo eliminated on that end, and I anticipate one, if you're just joining us today, we'll be setting the stage after all these initial fights as we have Shoni and Polo, no strangers to fighting early, going right up against Crumbler and Mars. Mars goes down immediately.
Here's the thing, these are the best players in NA East going head to head, regardless of where they are coming into day 2. These battles, these engagements are worth thousands of dollars. Literally, your placement points will matter. And let's be honest, who doesn't want to have a great history from your most recent competitive tournament, right? These are what the players wear proudly on their shoulders. So far, Shoni and Polo have done pretty decent. They have a chance to actually battle today, do well, and make it to top 10.
And they're one of the duos who haven't been competing here in the finals before. This is their first opportunity, and we have seen them get better each and every qualifier. And again, we talked about the stakes. We talked about the 130K for first place as Narwhal actually ends up picking up Golden. So that first fight just delaying them enough to end up allowing another team to come in. Shoni and Polo are trying to go down. But, hey, man, you saw the announcement this morning, right? Like, there's a little bit more on the line. We will have that invitational in in-person event in November. And yes, that invitational word tends to scare people and look at all that, but if you go through, you read the blog, we're going to be inviting top duos based on their performances in the FNCS. So hey, you want to show up, you want to end up in Raleigh? Put your name on the stage right now.
You say small, I'm saying that's a large announcement, a huge one. In fact, I'm looking so forward to what's to come. I'm sure the players are as well. The overall community sentiment's been amazing. And take a look here, talking about amazing things going down. Narwhal and Nexi on fire right now, kick things off with 2 eliminations here. And again, they came in late. They kind of sweep up the dust right underneath the rug. And that's going to be a great kickoff for them. 6-point swing means a lot. You saw the standings. Our top 15 were quite literally 3 points from one another. Do not let that little number on the side of where the team is coming in discourage you from counting these squads out. So many of them have a true opportunity to jump into top 10. It is not even a drill. For Booga and Miro, though, there's a huge order in front of them. They have to stay consistent. They are one of the duos that are right in that sardine pack with all the other players.
Oh man, I hate sardines. Just not a massive fan in that regard, but I am a massive fan of the way Booga and Miro have been playing. It's very easy to get discouraged when you look at the top of the table and the fact that Cold and Walltaker and Peterbot and Bila have been playing so well. These guys aren't slowing down at all. They've been able to put up the pressure. They've been able to contest against Surge. They've gotten reboots when needed. Now we're gonna swing on over to the opposite side. Polaris and Nico, they're trying to get on the board here. Creo and Vert on the opposite side, and honestly, I love the attitude coming out from Polarized and Nico here, because they talked about everyone was just like, man, really tough day one, failing to score a point, but he said, hey, I would rather go 0 for 30 than 0 for 9, because going 0 for 9 means I stop shooting. And these guys, they're still going, they're still pressing, they want to be a part of that conversation.
You love it, and you love to see players continue to try their best, play their hearts out, and do their best tournament after tournament. Of course, it's not over until it is absolutely over. And there's a lot of teams that have yet to earn some placement points or just general points here in the tournament this weekend. So it does kind of give a little bit of a heads up to the rest of the community looking at this tournament here. It's been difficult, and our best teams are shining. They're actually taking away so many points up at the top, and that's why it's actually highly competitive there. Talking about highly competitive teams, though, Walltaker, Cold, these guys are in the running on the heels of Peterbot and Bila. Essentially, Peterbot and Bila would have to fall in order for others to go ahead and do this. But we have a word from one of the best our scene has to offer. It's Vivid.
Hey guys, so let's tune in right here with Peterbot and Bila. Now again, they do have that Dr. Sloan's assault rifle right off of spawn. He's actually holding that combat SMG as well, so no shotgun, so don't expect too many close range fights to go down. But interesting, we have a new fighter at the Collider. Bizzo and Diego Plays actually landing there, and I do believe they might have snuck away one of the supply drops, so I'm not sure if Peterbot and Bila actually got one of those launch pads this game, and with this south zone, we'll have to see how it impacts them.
Doesn't look like it as we swap through their inventory. No launch pad there, but we also did see Sonetto get a knock very early onto Diego, so we'll see how that ends up going. And a nice little info in the top right-hand corner. The last 2 NAE finals have been won by the team who is in first after day 1. So if statistics are on your side, they're in a pretty good spot.
But was that day 1 team introduced to a new hurdle? A team landing at their drop spot, a team stealing away what could be the most vital piece of loot, which is that extra launch pad. Take a look here. So now, can you explain this?
No, I was just about to say, what is going on here? As you see, it looks like they're trying to separate and make sure they have all of their shields in one spot, but they have so many. And I love the fact that they're actually taking the time to use that kind of right click or aim down sights and then throw the utility itself, because Oliver OG was looking to kind of steal some of that away. As we're gonna swing on over. 33 Cold, FaZe, Walltaker, trying to continue putting the pressure onto the rest of the lobby. They got a little bit of catch-up to be doing if they want to walk away with that Axe of Champions 2.0.
Eliminations. That's the name of the game for them right now. If they want to catch up to Peterbot and Bila, they need to find a slew of eliminations, but also Peterbot and Bila will probably have to go down to even allow that opportunity to be a reality here. For Commandment and Stretch, a team that's put up a couple digits here. I mean, they're looking for a comeback date today. You saw Stretch's response there on social media. He's like, dude, that big announcement, it's time for me to focus up. I got to get my head in the game. And now he has something even bigger to play for.
Yeah, you got to buckle down because, again, the return to in-person events, hey, we got to get something going, right? It's our first step, getting that ball rolling, kind of touching our toes in the water to see what it looks like in modernity. But as I said all the way back in the day, competitive Fortnite isn't going anywhere, and neither is Peterbot and Bila as they keep their train on moving, picking up a key elimination there.
Early elims for Peterbot and Bilo will spell disaster and scare
They're
for the
flying.
rest of the lobby. And look at this, they're actually pushing on in. Now that was just a knock. The pickup
call.
does come through.
Yep.
Notice the punishment though for the push here. Bilo and Peterbot looking a little worse for wears.
And this is the exact situation that Vivid just talked about, how I don't really see either of them rocking a shotgun. Yeah, wall-to-wall fights with an SMG are fine when you have an HP advantage, and they kind of do now thanks to the shield cake. But on the other side of them, they have another very aggressive duo who's trying to hawk in. You can see it in the bottom right-hand corner. Those green triangles, they're closing on this fight.
They're sliding in, but Peterbot and Bilo don't like the sound of it. They start to back on up. They skate out the side here. Off to the races they go, and they're looking for the disengage. Small victory for them, some couple tags there for Clicks and Day, though. Pressure on the horizon here. They have threats. Once again, we've seen this rotate game after game. The slide on into Chonker Speedway. Last time, it was Blake and Lawrence's tournament. They basically threw. This time now, a bigger problem. Threats and Rise seem to have the advantage here.
But I do like the conscious disengage. It's something we see out of Clicks and Day a lot, where they're not necessarily afraid to take some of the damage. We will see 323 below. We'll take a second to see if it updates. So the 323 lets you know the team has done the absolute least amount of damage. That's how far up they need to go. And then it will update, and we'll see the duo who are on, which is Clicks and Day. Now, if you are new to competitive Fortnite in this regard, Storm Surge is something that is active in every game, but you generally only see it in these high-stakes competitive lobbies. It turns on in zones 3, 5, and 7, and then it will do 25 damage every 5 seconds to the duos who are underneath the threshold, like Booga and Miro. Now, how do you bump that threshold out? You shoot other people. You get confirmed damage tags. So now you should see on the right-hand side, once that update comes through, the 2 shots that Booga hit pushes them just barely above, so teams will be ping-ponging back and forth.
And trust us when we say this is where the pressure really kicks in. This is where diamonds are created, guys. You absolutely have to hit every single opportunity that presents itself. These players will not open up those boxes freely, so you really have to take advantage. Talk about that, though. Here comes a full dive in, and this is going to be a full-on engagement. We have the #1 team down to the right. Gold and Aviv have to fight. They are in fourth place here. This is an all-in potential battle if they do not find tags.
But who are they going to push? They're either pushing 5th place with Joji and Rokane, who probably want to fight you as well, or you have Peterbot and Bila directly underneath them. It looked like they almost wanted to geyser over towards the supply drop, and they realized somebody else was there in full metal.
And also, Gold and Aviv are now split from one another. This is terrible for them. Aviv focusing in on our #1 team of Peterbot and Bila down low. Meanwhile, Gold has to transition on over, but also 20 players will have to go down in the feed. Walltaker takes out Teo, so these are big engagements here, but it is going to get very interesting now. Here it is, 4th on 5th.
Will they be able to take it? Just 38 damage above, 3 seconds till that Storm Surge turns on, and then the onus could really be put onto them. You can see right-hand side of the screen, Joji and Rokane, they're a 5th place team. They are underneath, and he's actually I love this. He's hanging back in the zone, knowing he's going to get a better angle on some of the teams who are posted up right towards the outside. And just that little second, the little awareness puts them decently above Surge.
Definitely some great tags there. Headshots come through. The feed is lighting up, though. Cold finds another one, so these exchanges are happening everywhere. Meanwhile, Peterbot and Bila find themselves another little 2-piece here onto Mega. He picks one up for the trouble. Scared Bear goes down. Walkers is down as well. Our 7th place team now down and out. That is so unfortunate for the new era boys trying to step on up, but they will continue to have opportunity here today. Let's hop on over to Blake and Lawrence, who are also below the surge.
Oh, that was so close. Lawrence actually missed the first chug splash there, and Blake almost ended up going down. You can see him trying to split the minis over, but every second you're taking a shield is a second you are not shooting someone. And the minis will only offset 5 seconds worth of the surge. Remember, it's 25 damage every 5 seconds, 61 below. He needs to find a double tag pretty much now or he's gonna go down, and they just barely find it. Now take a look at the top left-hand corner. 3 players need to go down, and then the surge will turn off, and Clarity G gets taken down.
What's crazy is that there's also a heal behind them, but they don't have the time to actually, the luxury to sit down and heal here. They are deciding to take fights instead. It is gonna be the difference maker. Take a look at the focus, the laser focus on Blake's face there. He is absolutely just worried about finding these tags, and he will find them. The surge will go ahead and simmer down now, as we've already broken the threshold, but at what cost?
I mean, you talk about at what cost in the top left-hand corner. We saw it, 4 versus 5. Well, 4 came out ahead. Joji and Rokane are down. Great use of the harpoon there to grab it, but we're gonna take a quick look in at our top team and just showing why they are running the table. Great angles on the side, taking advantage of the fact that Dubs and Mega were pinched there, and then they push in to make sure they scoop up all of that additional loot. That's why we call it a refresh, because you are able to then take the advantage of whatever additional utility is there. We'll swing on over right now with Walltaker and Cold, who we talked about. The name of the game is eliminations. Well, so far, the difference is being made up by Peterbot and Bilo. They're extending that lead right now, and you can see a little bit of onus going on to Walltaker and Cold.
This reminds me of the Zayt and Sat philosophy. If you do not have a loadout to win the game, make it happen. Make the big plays, and you can see that they do not have heals. They don't really have an endgame loadout, and they are playing for what could be a game-changer situation here, and this is why they single out Bank, who looks to be a solo. I think they've gathered enough information on that, and they're trying to change the tide of this game. Halfway through material, no HP to really work with here as far as additional extended heals go, and I love this push right here. It's aggressive, but it's a tournament-winning decision.
And that's what you need to do, because again, they're pretty handily in second place, but their eyes are on Peterbot and Bilo and what they have to do. We have fourth zone revealed. You can see it relatively central to where the players are at now. We do have a river cutting right down the middle, but you can see trying to get in, trying to get underneath Bank, taking a bunch of damage, and they're going to be able to pick that up, but you have to make sure you're covered on the side. As we've talked about so many times, they will get a much-needed refresh, but as I say that, it's only some minis, so not going to be able to top Cold off to that maximum 200 HP.
We heard some minis fall there. We saw a little upgrade to the weapons, so there is something to be gained, and of course those extra points if they want to start catching up to our #1 team. Let's take a look at Jamper and Duke, our 7th place, currently positioned duo here up on high ground. They have plenty of visuals to work with here, a lot of information to be downloaded and assessed here, but the zone tells us a story in its own. They're gonna have to rotate way on out, and you can see there's trouble in paradise. There's not a lot of duos already set up, so there's going to be plenty of duos that have to make this rotate.
But most of the duos are on the northeastern part of the zone, so if you are on the western part, you're pretty safe. You can effectively just walk in, which is where Duke and Jamper were, and Booga throwing some shots, and he's hitting them. That was back-to-back headshots going through. Jamper's actually going to end up finding an Elim in the feet, and I believe he just got a knock onto Walltaker. Yeah, that was him. He's out. So now Cold going to be by himself. This is monstrously huge.
And remember, look at this. They're fighting for loot. He actually jumped on top of another refreshed body. So mega unfortunate for Cold here. Had Sentit just been able to stay up here, it would have been a difference maker. They would have had enough to work with.
And again, we're talking about, you can see in the top right-hand corner, NA East has been the region with the least amount of reboots. And in fact, we're just able to break the record of nobody having won a game after reboot. That was the final game yesterday, where all of a sudden we were like, hey, this isn't really a one-horse race anymore, right? Like Walltaker and Cold had the opportunity to get in, but right now we're taking a look at third-place team ripped to shreds.
Oh, no.
Fantastic job picking up Elims, but falling just outside of that placement threshold at top 25 is huge.
And it's Acorn who picks it up. That's somebody's guns pick there, who, again, we have this little internal fun thing going on with our picks, so we'll continue to keep that story developing here as well. Take a look now. We have an important fight here. Our 2nd place team of Cold under pressure. He's got a duel on this wall. He cannot afford to go down now if they want to stay competitive, if they want to stay in the running. Meanwhile, Peterbot also gets knocked. This is an opportunity for someone like Cold to take advantage, but it's only a knock. It's not a full finish.
We'll see if that ends up getting confirmed, but we talked about how everyone was piled into the northeast side while Zone pulled all the way to the southwest, so everyone is going to have to go find that. And right now, as we said, it was just a knock. They're going to be able to get Peterbot back up on his feet, and if you take a look at the top left-hand corner, top 25. So 1 point granted out to everyone who made it this far. And then we're into the cascading placement point. So as duos drop, it'll be an additional +1. And Peterbot and Bila have only had 1 game where they've even relatively stalled over the course of the entire FNCS. Well, 2 games over the course of the entire FNCS.
Did you imagine the odds of falling this late in the tournament and getting saved? It has to be incredibly slim. So the chances, the odds, the favor is in Peterbot's side this time around. On the other side, Teo and Pledge now have an opportunity to jump on up as Aviv and Gold. Their 3rd place competitors are down, so this is an opportunity for them Very bold play here to stick inside the zone and try to play for this late pad. It's going to cost them a little bit, a little extra HP, but hey, they get to use it. They get to recycle the community launch pad, and off they go. Teo falls, though, in the process, and that's a man down here. Pledge will have to play this one out by himself.
And it was Cold who ended up actually getting the knock as a solo, so that is
important.
monstrous for him, trying to make up the difference, because again, we talked about the elims coming through, but we already saw Peterbot and Byla have picked up a pair. Cold and Walltaker have just now equalized on that. So if we're talking about the difference there at the top, they're even, but it's all going to be on Cold as a solo to try and make up that gap. As on the right-hand side, Peterbot and Byla are doing what they do best. They're trying to get to the front side of the zone, get priority, and then be able to scoop up and cut off all of these other teams. And Byla picks up another one for himself. That's their third elimination.
And what a great refresh as well. They are sitting on so much loot here. Now, granted, they will have to pause and heal for a second, and unfortunately, there's not too many extra quick heals here, but they have the time. They also pull somewhat of a zone favor. It's going to go hard east here, past the Synapse Station. Things are going to start getting very interesting. Notice how quickly this lobby has been cut down. That is because of the difficulty of the terrain, forcing players what was a longer rotate than usual.
It's also way different from the pace we saw yesterday at the start of the game, right? There's no shot. Like, we're not even going to come close to that 7th zone search. 5 players need to go down. This is a pretty difficult rotation. You can tell players know that, like, hey, we have to pick up the pace a little bit. Even if you're in that 3rd through 50th range, you know there is money to be made if you can be successful. And right now, Duke and Jumper, it looks like they're going for the early high ground. Cold is looking for a little bit of room, a little bit of space to do just something, but with only 9 bills, the Medmist, and the 2 minis, he's gonna have to dig in deep. The wood not gonna be enough. A monstrous shot, but Avery takes advantage of it, and him and Muzz have really been pushing up and challenging and playing very well as a duo.
Meanwhile, Kanat and Agers now find themselves in 7th place in the front side of low ground zone. I love that position on high ground. No one has truly claimed it, but there is Degen and Iamzo eyeing it up, thinking about it, and now they go on up. Miro and Bugha think about going for it, but it's not going to be a good idea as Miro almost loses his tournament run there for a second. Things have to slow down now. He is well above the surge. It's not going to be an issue at all for this lobby as players are falling. Byla is down, but not before picking up 3 more elims.
I was just about to say he's down, but he picked up a pair on the backside of the zone, and not even a pair. He finds the spare there as he gets threats and rides +1. So continuing the absurd run, 6 eliminations from them, but Peterbot is going to have to do something ridiculous as a solo. No stranger to him as he finds it. What a shot, Peterbot!
A huge shot there. Now he's swinging on around. He's got plenty of maps to play with as well. And you are seeing why Peterbot and Byla are making statement plays round after round. Here it is, though. There is still more to earn here with every team that goes down. More placement points, but elims are better. Get those instead. That's worth 3 if he gets the full confirm. Another down body here. He could play for that, but no. Smarter than that. Playing for second height. This is an end game push right now.
Bugha taken down by Smacked as well, and if we're looking over, we've already seen 2nd, 4th, 5th, 6th coming into this game has dropped. If you're Peterbot and Byla, there's tons of daylight, but up top, Iamzo and Degen trying to rip it away. Iamzo will get one, but Degen gets knocked.
And that's a solo now on high ground. That is so scary. That means this win is not completely free. He is trying to break it down. He doesn't trust if there's anyone up above, and there is a player there. It's Larson. Iamzo now, with a very bold play, has to slide on out. He's very hurt, though. Peterbot, meanwhile, on the side here, clutching up as ever, just trying to hold on to the game. Down goes Degen. Down goes Jamper. We're inside the top 10.
And this is what Peterbot does so absurdly well, is he finds the angle, he cuts off the player, and then he about faces and puts pressure on him. But right now the pressure is on Miro, trying to throw a ramp up in his face. Who fishing cast on the other side. Great level change, but unfortunately Chimp from the top down was able to pick it up. Peterbot and Byla are up onto 9 eliminations, all in the solo plays. Byla dipping back in the zone and finding 3. Peterbot then, since the solo, has found 3 of himself. And look, he's challenging players. He's going for it.
My God.
Angers ripped apart. He is going, and there's a reason he's in first. Look at the moves.
And look at this, a big 180 as well before he gets sent out of the lobby. Talk about big plays and bigger clutches there in the end. And now it's players on the bubble here trying to fight their way up to top 10. Remember, all of these engagements will be worth thousands of dollars and leaderboard implications as we continue throughout the day. Quad Tabs G finally make their way to an end game here. What can they do? It's a clean 2v2v1 though. A player goes down, and here it is. It should be a nice closeout here. It's Larson who's on the run. Qua and Tabs G come on through, and they secure themselves a nice victory royale.
What a way to start off day number 2. And I mean, it feels like it's the sequel to the book we were reading yesterday. We see Peterbot and Viola dominating the individual efforts, the plays, the movement coming through, but then the team on Hype runs it out and secures the victory royale. But all the points are being filtered in because as we see, the teams who are in 2nd through 10th just get taken out before they can really put a statement on the